Hey guys, welcome to today's video. And in today's video, we'll be covering how to make a conversation widget in UE5. So something like this. So the text will appear in a typewriter fashion and you can click a button to progress the conversation and afterwards it ends. So this example is from one of my games. The link will be in the description and also all the blueprint code will also be in the description. So the first thing we have to do is we have to create a user widget. So inside your content browser, just right click, scroll down, and when you find user interface, click on widget blueprint and click on user widget. And we can just call this, I'll just call it a widget conversation. Then double click to open that up. So the first thing we need to find is a canvas panel. And you can scale that up so it fits the largest screen size. The next thing we need is a text box. Just a regular text block will do. And at the top of the details we can call it whatever we want. So I'm gonna call this display text, and we want to tick is variable, and then you can scale it up accordingly. So I'll just make it a little bigger. And then you can also anchor it. However, I'm just gonna make it centered and move it down a little bit, and you can change the font and all the styling later. And the next thing we need is a button. We'll try to make it the same size as the text. And then we need another text block, and this time we drag it on top of the button on the hierarchy. We can move its position, and we need to call this, we'll say button text, and we want to tick is variable to true as well. Compile and save. Now we can go to the event graph. The first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to have to create an event so we can edit this display text over here in that typewriter style. So I'm going to create an event. So right click and add custom event, and we can call it update text, and we're going to need an input for this. So on the side in the details panel we can create an input, and we'll call that text, and we'll make it a string. And to proceed, we need to create two new variables. So we're going to need to create a variable called display text and make sure that's a string, and also another variable called full text, and that should be a string as well. So firstly, we're gonna get display text and we're gonna set it to be an empty string. And then we're gonna get full text and we're gonna set full text to the text provided from the input. Next, we're gonna get a delay, and this delay will be the delay between each letter appearing on the screen. So I think 0.025 is a good value, but you can experiment with that. Next, we're gonna need a sequence, and from then one, firstly we're gonna get our full text. We're gonna get a substring of the full text, and the length is going to be our display text, and we're going to get the length of our display text, and we're going to add 1, and we're going to plug that into length, and then we're going to set display text to the return value from this get substring, and we can plug that into then 0. Then the next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to get our display text text box from the widget. So since we made it a variable, it appears over here. So we can just drag that on and get it. Then we can get set text, this function, and then we plug this value into the in text for the display text widget. And now from then one, we're going to get a branch. And the condition is going to be if the display text and full text are equal to each other. So we're going to need equal exactly string. You can do that by doing a triple equal to sign. And then, so this will check if they're exactly equal to each other. and if they're not equal to each other, then we want to plug this back into the delay, so it will continue adding letters onto the screen until they are equal to each other, and then it will break off. So now to handle the clicking logic of the button, we're going to go to the button over here and scroll all the way down, and we can find the event on clicked, and then we just click add, and then we got the on clicked event for this button. So before that, we're gonna need to create three new variables. We're gonna need a variable which is basically an array which stores the different sentences that are gonna show up on the button text and the display text. So for the first one, I guess we'll just call it conversation array, and you want to after variable type, after where it says string to the side, we want to select array instead of single. Then we also create another array called button array, button text array I would say. And then we also need an integer called array index, so we can basically identify which component of the array we want to get. So to show you how this works, I'll add a couple of values to conversation array. So let's say the first thing we want to appear on the screen will be hello, and then we'll say the user has an option to say hello back, and then the next thing that will show up is I don't know, what is your name, and then the user has an option to say their name. So I'll just say hi, my name is Sasha, and then we'll give I will give another sentence. Let's say that's cool, and then I guess we'll just end it here. The option for the button will just be like thanks or something. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get a branch. So you can do that quickly by holding down B and left clicking. And so basically we want to get the array index, and we want to increment int, so that basically just adds 1 and sets the index. So whenever the button is clicked, the array index increases by 1. And then we're going to plug this into the branch. And the condition for this branch, so we're going to get out of array index again. We're going to do greater than equal to. Then we're going to get conversation array, and we're going to get the length. Then we're going to plug it in here, and then we're going to plug that into the condition for the branch. So that will basically only update if the index is less than the length of the conversation array. So out of false, so from false is going to be when it'll be able to update. We'll call our update text function that we made, and then the text, we're going to get the conversation array, and then we want to get a copy, and then the index number, we're going to get array index, and then we can plug that into text over here. And then we're going to have to set the button text as well, so we can drag out of button text over here. We can go set text, plug that in, and then we want to get the button text array, and then we want to repeat, we want to get a copy, we want to get the array index as well, and we can just plug this in here. So basically, as long as the array index does not surpass the length of this conversation array, then it will continue updating the text from this index 1 to index 2 to index 3 basically. So we're almost done. Now we're going to need to initialize the text when the widget is created. So from event construct, the first thing we want to do is update text. We want to call our update text, and we want to get conversation array, and we want to get a copy, and the we want to get it from the array index, but 0 would be fine. Then we can plug that in. Then we also want to set the button text, so we can get button text over here, set text. Then we want to get button text array and get a copy. The index can stay 0. So that should have it work. And also from this true, I guess we can just have it to remove the widget. So we want to get remove from parent. And to start this, we want to go into our first person blueprint, or whenever you want to initialize the widget. I'm just going to do from event begin play. So you want to create widget. The class is going to be whatever we called it. We'll add to viewport. The one thing we need to do is we want to show the mouse cursor. So in event construct, I think we get player controller, and then set show mouse cursor to true. And then when the widget gets removed, we want to make the show mouse cursor false. So we'll just repeat that. It should work. So the formatting is not great right now, but as you saw when we opened it, the text did show up in a typewriter style, and it is the first sentence we have in our conversation array, and the button text is also the first we have in our button text array. When we click on the button, you see it updated based on the array we were given it. Repeat. Now when we click on this, it should remove the widget, and yeah, it removed the widget, and we can continue. So that's basically it. And if you want to create another conversation, what I would just suggest is you get your widget, you duplicate it, and you change the array values over here. And you can of course format it however you want, make it look a little better than this. But that's about it.